Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Donovan, and today we're going to be taking a look at two really fantastic smartwatches available right now on Amazon.com. So, I'll leave links down in the description if you're interested in checking them out. So, on the left-hand side, we have the TicWatch Pro, and we're going to be pitting that up against the Samsung Galaxy Watch. So, both of these watches have been out for a little while. I got them both on launch day. So, the Galaxy Watch I picked up for, I believe it was like $350. This is the 46 millimeter version. And it is the Bluetooth version. It is available with LTE as well. That one's $400. Currently, you can actually pick up the version you see here. This is the 46 millimeter version for $330. But if you get the smaller version, the 42 millimeter version, it's available in midnight black and rose gold, and that one is actually only $300 right now. So they've dropped the price a little bit on the Galaxy Watch since launch. Now, the TicWatch Pro is available in two different colors, only one size, but two different colors. So there's the silver version you see here that's basically just a stainless steel color, and then also the black version, which I actually happen to like a little bit better. I just picked up the silver version. So this one is available for $250. So if just pricing is what matters and you're looking for the one that's maybe the better value, then probably the TicWatch Pro would be the way to go. So we'll talk more about some of the specs and things like that that will help you make that purchase decision between these two. So let's go ahead and get to it. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the build quality of these two devices. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the TicWatch Pro. So one of the defining features of the TicWatch Pro is the display. So one of the things you'll notice here is the fact that it has a dual layer display. So right now you're seeing the LCD display. Now that sits on top of an AMOLED display that you can see now, and it's a 1.4-inch display. I believe it's 400 by 400 pixels. On the back you have that stainless steel backing, and then you're going to use that to charge it up. So it actually sits in a cradle, and those little pins are what you're going to use to charge it up. You can see there's two physical buttons over here on the side, and then right over here we have a microphone. On the back we do also have a speaker, so you can use this of course for phone calls. You can see that these are the bands it actually comes with. So there are leather bands, and then on the back we have that silicone material, so good for fitness. Now they are removable, so if you want to use something maybe a little bit more classy like some leather ones or some metallic or stainless steel bands, you can easily replace them. You can see they are quick release, so no problem replacing those, and they are 22 millimeters, so standard size. Now in the Samsung Galaxy Watch realm, we do also have two physical buttons just like you have on the TicWatch Pro. We have that stainless steel, but then you also have this rotating bezel, which I happen to think is a pretty useful feature. We do also have removable bands here, so again 22 millimeter. Now if you pick up the 42 millimeter version of the watch, you're going to get 20 millimeter removable bands, so that's cool. And they're quick release, of course. We have a heart rate monitor here. We'll talk more about the heart rate monitors once we get into the fitness aspects of these two watches. But in terms of the buttons, I do really like these. You can see there's a speaker here, a microphone here, and then on the other side we have our speaker. And I do happen to think that this watch works pretty well for phone calls as well. So in terms of just the raw physical features of these two watches, I think probably for my preference, I prefer the Samsung Galaxy Watch. Now, if I had the black version of the TicWatch Pro, that could be a little bit different, but definitely without a doubt, the Samsung Galaxy Watch, in terms of that display, you just can't beat that. However, with the TicWatch Pro, of course, you're going to get that longer battery life because of that dual display that you get here with that LCD and then AMOLED display in the background. All right, so before I jump into the software on these two devices, I did want to mention one other thing about the build, and that is the fact that the TicWatch Pro is IP68 water resistant, which means it's going to be just fine for going underwater with it. However, it's not recommended to go swimming. So if you get it wet, if it gets rained on, things like that, it's really not going to be a big issue because it is IP68 water resistant. However, the Samsung Galaxy Watch actually encourages you to go swimming because there is if you go into the fitness tracking here. You can see that swimming is one of the things that it will track, of course, so that is awesome. So this one's 5 atmospheres water resistant. Now, in terms of the raw software on these two devices, this one's running Tizen 4.0, so updated version of Samsung's OS. Now, if we pull up from the top, we have our shortcuts here. If I hold down, you can go into some of the other watches that they have available. Now, there's a plethora of watch faces available, so there's no shortage at all with either of these two watches. So watch faces really is kind of a meaningless thing to compare because there's just an unlimited number of watch faces available for these two watches. Now, one thing I really like about Samsung's OS is the fact that you have these shortcuts here. So they're essentially like widgets, and so you can see there's one here for like Spotify, for instance. This is one for different activity tracking, and then you can see here just some more activity tracking that it will go to, the weather, things like that. So that's really awesome. If you go over to the right, so you can see I'm using the bezel, you can also swipe across the screen, and it's going to bring you into your notifications. Responding to notifications is very easy on this OS. I think it works great. And then other things that you get, of course, we can go into our apps by touching this button right up here. Actually, sorry, this one down here, and we can go into our what we call maybe like an app drawer. Now, one definite shortcoming of Samsung's OS or Tizen 4.0 is the fact that there is not a huge number of apps available. So obviously it supports Spotify, but outside of that, there really aren't any major apps available. Now, ultimately, do you use a whole lot of the apps that are available on smartwatches? Probably not. You're probably just going to use it to fitness track, also to check the time and maybe listen to some music with it. Outside of that, most people aren't using their watch for much other than that. So maybe it's not a huge thing that it doesn't have too many apps that you can use with it. But one advantage of the TicWatch Pro, of course, is the fact that it's running Wear OS. So with that, you're getting Wear OS 2.0, which is a nice upgrade, I will say that. If this were running the original Wear OS, I would say there's no question which one has the better software. But Wear OS 2.0 is definitely much improved. So you can see here we go to shortcuts when we pull from the top. If we swipe up from the bottom, you can see our notifications. The notifications are so much better on Wear OS 2.0. If I swipe over from the right, you can see it's going to go into fitness. Now, this is going to use the specific TicWatch or the Tic Health fitness tracking. Now, if you have a different Wear OS 2.0 device, that's actually going to go into Google Fit tracking there. And then if I go over to the right, you can see we're going to jump into Google Assistant, which I think is pretty useful as well. Of course, that's definitely better than you've probably noticed in the background a couple of times that, the thing that this one uses keeps hearing me, which is kind of annoying because sometimes it hears you when you're not even trying to talk to it. So that's a little bit annoying once in a while. All right, so that we can see if I touch this button over here, we're going to go into our apps, and obviously with this running Wear OS 2.0, we're going to have a lot more apps available than what you get on the Samsung Galaxy Watch. Now, again, will you use half of these? Probably not. Some of these you will probably never use, but some that are useful would be like the maps, obviously Google Play Music, some of the fitness apps, and again, you can pretty much use any fitness app here, whereas with the Galaxy Watch, you're basically limited to 2. You can use the Under Armour apps like Map My Run, or you're going to have to use the Samsung Health, whereas over here, you basically have whatever option you want in terms of fitness tracking. So if you don't like Google Play Fit, if you don't like Tic Health, you can use whatever you want. So I happen to use one called Ghost Racer, but that links up with Strava. But overall, in terms of software, Wear OS is definitely more app-friendly, whereas I think the Samsung Galaxy Watch and Tizen is a little bit more user-friendly. And again, it just jumped into the assistant there, which is kind of annoying because I didn't even say anything to talk to it. I didn't hit the button to make it do it, so I don't know why it did that. But in terms of software, it really is kind of a toss-up. Now that this one's running Wear OS 2.0, I really like both of them. I do like the shortcuts, however, on the Galaxy Watch better because that's not something you get over here on the TicWatch Pro. All right, so now let's go ahead and talk about the battery life of these two devices. And for that, it's really going to be very dependent on how you use your device. So just to let you know, my typical usage is I'm going to get my notifications. I'm not going to respond to a whole lot of them on my watch, but I will check them on my watch. Also, of course, using it for time. But outside of that, I'm basically only using it while I run. And it's going to use the GPS and music because I'm listening to Bluetooth headphones while I run. So that's my typical use with a smartwatch like this. So I'm using it for tracking my health and then checking the time. That's really about it, and then some notifications. So in terms of that usage with the TicWatch Pro, I'm generally getting about a day or two of battery life. Now notice that it does default often to that essential mode screen. That's because that is the default for this. Now you can use it with an always on display so it doesn't go to that essential mode screen, as you can see. And if you do that, then it's going to keep that AMOLED display on all the time, and then you're only going to get about a day. Now, if you actually turn it on to the essential mode, that's what they call it, then you're going to get up to 30 days of battery life. So that's this one here. Now, one thing of note, if you do turn it on to that essential mode, is that basically you're going to see just this display all the time. You won't be getting your notification. You're basically turning off all the services except the gyroscope so that it can track your steps, and it will keep your time, date, and then the battery life. That's all the essential mode will show you. You're not going to get notifications anymore, and of course you can't track runs or anything like that with it, and you're not going to get notifications. So you can get up to 30 days, but I would say in typical use you're probably going to get more like 2 days of battery life with the TicWatch Pro. Now with the Samsung Galaxy Watch, we do not have any kind of like special LCD display on top of it or anything like that, but the battery life on this one is quite solid. Generally speaking, I'm getting 2 to 4 days of battery life. However, with my typical use, where I'm using it with Bluetooth music, notifications, using it to track my runs on GPS, then I'm only going to get more like 2 days of battery life. So generally speaking, the battery life is roughly the same. I would say the Galaxy Watch in more typical use would get a little bit better battery life because I can squeeze out probably 3 days here, whereas using that on the TicWatch Pro, I'm probably not going to get 3 days unless I turn it on to essential mode on times when I'm not really using it, like at night. I can turn on to essential mode, and that's going to conserve some battery. So in typical use, I would say the Galaxy Watch gets slightly better battery life, but of course the TicWatch Pro can get much better battery life than the Galaxy Watch. All right, so last but not least, I want to go ahead and talk about the fitness tracking on these two watches. So first of all, let's just talk about what kind of fitness tracking you can do with these two watches. So again, with the Galaxy Watch, you can track your swimming where you can't with the TicWatch Pro. So that's kind of a thumbs up to the Samsung Galaxy Watch for that. So the TicWatch Pro also does not have sleep tracking, whereas the Galaxy Watch does. However, let me just mention that you can download an app called Sleep as Android. There are other third-party sleep tracking options available as well for the TicWatch Pro, but natively on the watch you're not going to get sleep tracking. However, you will get GPS, you will get a heart rate monitor, and you do get, of course, a step counter as well. Now, in terms of the actual activities that it can track, you can see here there's freestyle, so that's going to be like weightlifting and pretty much any activity that I'm not going to show you here. So cycling, indoor running, outdoor walking, and outdoor running. So that's what the Tic Health app will track. Now you can get other apps if you want to track other activities, but with the Samsung Watch in Samsung Health, you can track a few more activities than you can on the TicWatch Pro. Now, the negative of the Samsung Watch being that this one and this one, they are both great when it comes to tracking GPS. So if I'm out on an outdoor run, both of them are very accurate when it comes to the GPS. The area that the Samsung Galaxy Watch definitely has issues, though, would be with the heart rate monitor. So if you look in some of my comments on some of my reviews of the Samsung Galaxy Watch, this is a known problem. The heart rate monitor has some issues, and I'm not really sure what's going on there. I believe it's more of a software thing more than a hardware thing. And that is, let me just give you an example. Tonight I went on a 5 mile run, and for the first mile, the Galaxy Watch basically just shows that I have no heart rate. And obviously that's not the case because I'm still alive. And then after about a mile, all of a sudden it starts showing my heart rate, and it's very accurate. So I'm not really sure what's going on there, but it is an issue that a lot of people have talked about with the Samsung Galaxy Watch, whereas with the TicWatch Pro, the heart rate monitor may only work while you're actually in an activity, but it works well, and so far I haven't really had any issues with the heart rate monitor on here, or the GPS for that matter, on the TicWatch Pro. So for right now, until Samsung fixes that issue with the heart rate monitor on the Galaxy Watch, I have to give the win when it comes to fitness tracking to the TicWatch Pro. However, just keep in mind that the Samsung Galaxy Watch does have that swim tracking, so if you're a swimmer, obviously the Galaxy Watch is going to be the more appealing watch for you. Now, with that being said, let me know what you guys think. Which watch is the best of the two down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.